Good morning, guys. It is Thursday, March 28th. This is Bathrobe Business. I'm extra groggy. I got the coffee and I got the news. So it's kind of a busy day in the markets. I do have a couple of stories I want to report on. One major one that I think is kind of a game changer for a company. I do want to give one update yesterday. In yesterday's video, I said I might purchase Donald Trump's Truth Social stock as a trade because I saw it as a meme stock. I didn't end up pulling the trigger, so just wanted to let you guys know on that. But I still might. I'm still watching it. It is actually up from yesterday. When I looked at the stock price yesterday, it was at $59 a share. Currently in the pre-market, it's $67 a share. So it is up from where I saw it, but I just don't know. I don't consider it even a real company. This isn't even politics. This isn't a real company. I know with the GameStop thing, GameStop was a real company. They had stores, they sold products. Nobody's on Truth Social. Like, nobody uses it. It's just a novelty. I don't think even Donald Trump believes in it. He's just doing it as shameless self-promotion, which isn't a bad thing. I look at it like anything that Logan Paul would do. It's not a real company per se. It's just like an advertising campaign. But that's neither here or there. So, Home Depot is making some major moves, and it seems like M&A is in the market. So Home Depot is acquiring a major distributor called SRS. Now, I've never heard of them, but that's because I'm not a professional. So SRS is a company for professional contractors. They distribute materials all around the country. And one of their keys is that they don't have the people go to the store. They have actual pros ordering stuff online and getting deliveries to their job site. And so this is a major change with Home Depot because about 50% of their revenue comes from professionals, but this was where they thought that their revenues were lacking. So they thought that this was the weak spot in their business. So they're investing $18.25 billion in an outright purchase between cash and debt of SRS. And now they're essentially gaining a professional distributor. So now if you're a pro, you would I don't know if they're going to get rid of the company entirely or just own it under the same flagship name of SRS. But essentially, for pros, this is a big deal because you're going to be ordering stuff online and getting it delivered to you. They have like 4,000 trucks. Let me give you the details. They have 4,000 trucks, 760 branches across 47 states, approximately 11,000 employees. And yeah, so they deliver nationwide, and they do everything from landscaping to pool to roofing businesses. So they are massive behemoths in the professional industry, and Home Depot has just acquired them. This is interesting because Home Depot's actually been on an acquisition spree, and I think I missed some of these last year. So last year they bought HD Supply, which is also a professional distributor, for $8 billion. And they bought International Design Group, which owns Construction Resources, and Temco, an appliance delivery and installation company. So they've been on a shopping spree and have really strengthened themselves in the market in a way that a lot of these other companies haven't. They're going from being more than just a store for construction goods. They're going to be the first stop of anything remodeling, whether professional or private. This is a really major move. I think this really repositions the company. It does dilute, I think, the stock value because it's going to cut into their revenues. But I think as a long-term investment, this is a really good company. I'm looking at this myself to possibly invest in some Home Depot stock because I see the next couple of years being very fruitful, especially with the housing market still being very strong and new construction still desperately needed. Remember, we're undersupplied in housing by several million nationwide. So just something to think about as a possible investment. In other M&A, Amazon is spending $2.75 billion on an AI startup called Anthropic. So it did a minor investment in this company last year. It's just pretty much doubling its investment. This isn't an outright purchase. So Anthropic is an independent company and is remaining so. This is just an investment, and through this, Amazon gains a board seat. Anthropic is one of the main competitors apparently to ChatGPT. I have heard the name. I've never used their products. They're not as big, clearly. I think for the layman's, most people don't know it. It was actually started by an ex-OpenAI exec. So it does have ties to OpenAI, and it's one of their major competitors. So we'll see what this has to play. It's interesting because we talked about a couple weeks ago that Apple purchased their own AI company out of Canada. So if you can't beat them, join them. A lot of these companies think it's more fruitful just to purchase an AI company or invest in one than develop an in-house, and I think it's a fantastic strategy. I think it makes complete sense, especially since Amazon will call itself a tech company because of AWS, and if you look at it on paper, Sure, their money flow is much greater on AWS than it is on their retail side, but let's be honest, Amazon isn't truly a tech company, right? This isn't Microsoft. This isn't Google. They are just a company that is utilizing tech incredibly well. And so I think this makes complete sense. It's a little surprising that Apple did that purchase, but Apple is known for acquisition, so I don't think it's that unusual. Just a minor point, U.S. growth last quarter was actually higher than estimated. So last time I reported numbers for the last quarter of 2023, I reported 3.2. It's actually been revised to 3.4. So the U.S. economy grew faster than expected in the fourth quarter of 2023. And also, I'm going to touch on this. I didn't talk about it because I did have those breaks last week in stories, but Apple is being sued by the Department of Justice for antitrust issues. Totally support it. I think this is great. Now, we've talked about Apple pressure mounting in Europe, and now it's finally come to the U.S. This isn't exactly new because you could almost kind of see the tide turning on Apple as they were having this issue in Europe, and now it's come to the United States. I think it's totally true. I think they do have antitrust issues because they definitely squeeze out the competition. They make it less competitive. This is more heinous than what Microsoft did in the 90s with Netscape. And I think it's far past time that the Department of Justice and the SEC do something about it. I hope that this continues a trend because there are too many companies that have monopolized an economy and that are just the behemoths that squeeze everybody else out. So I hope that this brings major change in the market, and I hope this continues because I think there's lots of disparity in our economy where there's a lot of unfairness, where large corporations pretty much rule the game, and there is no chance for growth or innovation in the market. So I strongly support this, and I hope it continues. Last minor story, Hyundai is considering a hybrid vehicle company, a plant to be built in Savannah, Georgia. It's potentially going to be an entirely EV and EV plug-in plant, so that's kind of big news. It's also interesting because Hyundai recently, at their Alabama plant, a lot of their workers are voting to unionize. I can't tell if that's actually moved forward yet at all, but it is with the United Auto Workers. So Hyundai's people are applying for unionization, but I don't think it's gone through yet. But about 30% of their staff have signed on to that. So we'll see what comes of it, and if they do sign on and it gets unionized, will this plant still be built in the United States, or is Hyundai going to say, no, we're building it in Mexico? This is something interesting to watch and something to be seen. That's it as far as the major news stories. Just kind of an update from my side. Today is going to be day 4 of my acquisition. Yesterday was day 3. So day 3 was pretty uneventful. If you've been tuning into this channel regularly, I've been doing a segment where I talk about our latest business acquisition. So we purchased a business, I guess we should say it's been in the works for months and weeks, but official acquisition date was Monday. So I've been doing kind of a daily blog of how that's been going. It's been going well. Yesterday was fairly uneventful, other than the fact that our merchant processor has gone down and we can't process credit cards and a bunch of other logistical issues as far as transferring contracts and agreements, but nothing worth mentioning. Today, on my 4th day of the acquisition, what we're going to focus on is the week in recap. So we're going to go in this afternoon at the end of the day and talk to the staff, get their input of how they think the week went, what their concerns are still. It is always much scarier for the staff than it is for the employer because for them, they don't know if their jobs are at stake or not. So we're going to go in, kind of ease the situation, see how they're doing. I've been there pretty much every day all week, but it's one thing to just be there. And it's another thing to get input from the staff. So today we're going to focus on that, talking to the staff, asking if they have any questions, how they feel after their first week with the new ownership, and just get their input and where we want to be next week. So very minor point. As I said in the video on day 1, we're not making any major changes right now because we want to let inertia carry this for a little bit, see how things go, and then implement new strategies as they come along. So that's what I'm going to focus on today, and I'll have an update for you guys about that tomorrow. I hope you guys have a productive day. I'll see you in the morning.